Time for 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
All right, man, it is absolutely incredible to be back with the faithful again. And it's Thursday, which means we've got the wonderful Brian McFadden of
my new favorite day of the week.
Oh, I freaking love it, man. It's fun for me. It's therapeutic, I'm going to be honest with you, because I'm so I'm staring at one tree of the NFL. That is the the 49ers. And so this gives me this wonderful
I'm bringing you the
playground.
Forest. You see that tree? I'm bringing you the whole jungle, man.
I freaking love it, man. So Brian, it's great to be with you. We got an awesome show today. We are going to be way too early, but never too early.
Never too early.
We're going to be going through picking playoff predictions, Super Bowl winner. Why not? Let's just do the whole freaking thing. We're going to start with the AFC, but we're going to spend more time on the NFC today. That's the plan. Also, got to give this news out. Because we hit 10,000 subscribers a week ago on YouTube, we have a giveaway. We're going to be announcing the giveaway of this 75th edition Ronnie Lott jersey. So we got a winner going for that today. So you guys hang out. We'll be announcing that probably in the middle of the show, in between the AFC and NFC breakdown. Plus we got a little bit more news coming from Brian. Some positive, man. You know what? No, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait. I want to know right now. I want to know now, because I haven't really even heard this either. Brian, the floor is yours, my friend.
So this is an awesome week with some great news, because I have decided and put myself in a position that legit football is now my full-time job. I'm working nonstop to make this a full-fledged media company. So, hey, you guys are going to be seeing more of me. A number of you have asked me on this show about my content. Well, I have time to make content now because this is my job. So I'm going to be doing some TikTok stuff, do some YouTube stuff. Obviously, I'll be doing probably even more stuff with John. So, stay tuned. Legit football. We're not going anywhere.
There are fewer things in this world that make me happy than people freaking getting what they deserve in a positive way. I love it when players sign new contracts. I love it when players get drafted. I love it whenever I see media, people that I've worked with, get their careers. It's incredible, man. I'm so freaking happy for you, Brian. I know great things are coming. The amount of emails and DMs, I haven't even shared them all with you since man, is this our fourth show? Have we been doing this a month now?
Sounds, I think it's at least four. At least four?
Yeah. I mean, the faithful have spoken. You're not even a Niners guy, but they want you back, man. And
that doesn't even, we're not even counting the draft night, round 2 in Vegas together. So,
Incredible, man. I love it. And so hopefully it's a partnership that's going to be around for a while. So Brian, let's jump into it. We are going to be going over AFC stuff first. We're going to kind of go through AFC a little bit faster, perhaps. Sure. We'll see how it goes.
We know how you Niners fans, you want us to get to the NFC. We'll get to it. Don't worry. We'll get to it.
I will be honest. I went ahead and did mine just because I didn't want to be influenced by you to see where mine are compared to yours. Okay. I know we did our power rankings episode. Yeah. But man, this is always such a fun exercise because you get to see this team over that team. Oh man, bad matchup, all that stuff. So let's start with how do you want to lay that? How do you want to lay the
Let's go 7-1. Obviously, we're going to start with the AFC because we will spend less time on them because at the end of the day, it's still a 49ers show. But I want to go 7-1. I want to kind of, and then after that, I'd love to mention like the on the bubble teams. Just a really brief mention of the teams that I did not put in my top 7, just so you guys know. And we'll do the same thing in the NFC. Like who could these extra teams be? Who could be fighting for those wild card spots? So I'd love to do that at the end.
I love it. All right. Well, let's start with number 7 and count our way up for, again, the playoff seeding. In today's NFL, 7 teams from each conference get in. The number 1 seed gets the bye. 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, all those things. Take it away.
Yeah, one quick thing to remember. I know you guys are diehard NFL fans, so you probably know this, but it's not just best record, it's division winners and then wild card teams. The reason that's important is 2 of my wild card teams in the AFC will probably have better records than probably 2 of the division winners. So I'm going to start with number 7. We mentioned the AFC West last week. Denver Broncos. I've got Russ, no longer a hated Seahawk. You guys probably still don't have a lot of love for him, but he's squeaking in at number 7. The AFC is interesting because there could be as many as 12 to 13 teams fighting for those 7 spots. It is insanely competitive. There's a huge power shift over to the AFC when you think of Devontae Adams coming over, when you think of Russell Wilson coming over, Von Miller coming. There's so many of this power players. But I've got Denver squeaking in at number 7 in an insanely tough AFC West. That's where we're going to start. John, do you want to tell me your 7? You want to go back and forth?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you where I have the teams you say.
Okay, sounds good.
So you have Broncos 7, I have Broncos 6 in the AFC.
Yeah.
So,
and this is one of those things that these teams are going to be so close, and I could have easily put them 6, and I'll tell you why I put the team at 6 that I did, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. Ooh. And I'm a big, we mentioned this a few times in the power rankings. I'm a big fan of continuity in the coaching ranks, and because Denver's getting a whole brand new coaching staff, Nathaniel Hackett has never coached an NFL team as a head coach before. There's just always that level of like, he might be a great coordinator, but he might not know how to run an NFL team. So because of that, I'll knock him down. You've got John Harbaugh. You've got one of the most tenured, successful NFL coaches running the Ravens, and they were decimated by injuries last season. Lamar is back at camp. He said, I want to be a Raven. All this, you guys are making up the stories about the contract stuff. He's not looking to get traded. He just wants to do things his way. So that reason alone, that kind of continuity and the long-term success of the Baltimore franchise, that's why I have them at number 6 over the Broncos.
Man, you know what's? I feel bad already, and this is what happens, especially in the AFC. I don't have the Ravens making the playoffs, and that's ridiculous. That's stupid on my end. I had the Dolphins getting in over the Ravens.
That's my team, and I did not put them in. Kind of the same reason. Now, hey, part of this could be me, a Dolphins fan, trying to sell my team down for my own expectations, because the talent is there. The talent, honestly, is for once in a long time not really the question. I think Tua even has the talent. Whether he puts it together, we'll see. But once again, Mike McDaniel, great offensive coordinator, unproven head coach. I just don't know what that's going to look like yet against John Harbaugh, who, like Mike Tomlin last year, the Steelers, spoiler alert, are not one of my teams. They could compete, but I don't see it happening. But Tomlin's probably still going to have them, flirting with the winning record just because he's that good of a coach. So that's really what it came down to for me by putting Baltimore in there. But I could hopefully see the Dolphins making it.
Nothing wrong with that. Now, I want to say this for the people watching. I want you to throw up, who are your 3 top, if you had to pick, who are your number 1, 2, and 3, put them in order, AFC teams. Throw that up in the chat. I'm curious to see what they think as we get there. So 1, 2, and 3, best 3 teams in the AFC as we keep climbing. So now we're on, and this is crazy because this is the number 5 spot in the AFC. Holy cow. It's got to be somebody out of the AFC West, right?
100% yes. Yeah, this is actually, and if you guys were following our record prediction for the AFC West, this is not going to be a surprise because I did not pick this team to win the division, but they're still the Kansas City freaking Chiefs. They're going to be making the playoffs. They're still going to have a top 3 offense, even without Tyreek Hill. They've still got Andy Reid, and still at the end of the day have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So I've got them with a very good record. Like, I think I predicted them to win maybe 11, 12 games, but because I think, as default, the Chargers ahead of them, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs at the number 5 in a wild card spot.
That's where I've got them too. The idea of Mahomes and Reed not having a home playoff game is crazy. But
with that kind of record, like they could very well finish 12-5 and not have a home playoff game. It's just speaks to the power and the competitiveness that we're going to see in the AFC this season.
Yeah, I like it. I'm getting called out here. We got to address this one. James says, John's got bias. Who's the new coach for Miami? It's Mike McDaniel, and I love it.
There is a 49ers tie there.
They won 8 consecutive games to end the season. What do I believe in? And this is, there's few things that like I buy into more. I want a solid defense and a good offensive line. And guess what? I think that they have that. I really, really do. I like the coaching addition for sure. I like Tyreek Hill being added from a talent standpoint. Those are great. I thought they should have made the playoffs last year. They were so close. They just crapped the bed early.
I'll say this I talk all about continuity. Mike McDaniel did keep Josh Byer, the defensive coordinator, as the same defensive coordinator. And basically the entire starting defensive team for Miami is back. So that defense that was very good the past few years, with Flores being the main person in charge, but they get to keep the same DC. They get to keep a lot of that talent. And they have some rookies like Jalen Phillips who really showed some flashes last season. If he makes a leap, then yes, I would love it. Nothing more than the Dolphins to make the playoffs. Trust me. I think I'm just managing expectations with McDaniels as a first-year head coach.
Yeah, I like it. All right, now let's get to our division winners.
Yep.
And I think this number 4 spot, I think it's going to be coming out of the AFC South for both of us probably.
Correct. Yep.
But I bet we got different teams. Who do you have winning the AFC South?
I am high on the Colts this year.
That's what I got. That's what I got.
I am not high on the Titans. So you already know, just because we've ruled out the other teams, that I do not have the Titans in the playoffs. I think we might have mentioned that when we did the power ranking show. I think this Colts team was a better quarterback away from making the playoffs last season. Preseason last year, I predicted the Colts to win that division. And a lot of my podcast co-hosts at the time all picked the Titans. I said, no, I really believe in this Colts team. And I was right, minus Carson Wentz. So, yeah. I mean, you've got Jonathan Taylor, who is, we can all agree is at this point the number 1 running back in the NFL. Michael Pittman is really coming on. I like what they've done. Their offensive line has been solid for years, but I like Alec Pierce and Matt Ryan. Like, he may not be the Matt Ryan that took the Falcons to the Super Bowl in 2016, but he is, we can all agree, an upgrade over Carson Wentz and much more steady in that Frank Reich offense.
Yeah, and I don't think the Colts really, I think they got better. I really do. Yeah. But I don't think that they had to. They were 9-8 last year. Yeah. I think the Titans have gone so far down. I don't think that they improved. I love Treylon Burke. I think they lost their best, maybe second best offensive player at A.J. Brown behind.
I think Burks is more of a project, though. Burks, you're not going to plug and play. Even if he can get to that level that A.J. Brown's at, I don't think that's any time in the next 2 seasons. I think that could be like a 2 to 3 year project, which means they're going to fall down this year.
Yeah. Now, before we get to our top 3 for the AFC, we got a couple of people that put their responses there. What's up, Solo? He says 1 Chargers, 2 Raiders with
straight
a laughing
AFC
emoji.
West. Yeah.
3 Chiefs, man. Straight AFC West. Now, they might be the 3 best teams. I'm not going to argue that. But yeah, that's interesting. Shot Jay, he says Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers. Actually, he said no, put the Bills in.
AFC West. Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of Bills.
Yeah, interesting.
Not a lot of Bills up there. Which, man, I'm pretty high on the Bills. Spoiler alert.
We both
All right, let's
are.
go.
Yeah.
Let's go to number 3. Who do you got number 3?
All right, so this is where I have the Cincinnati Bengals, who is a team that, I mean, their offense is stellar. It's not creative, believe it or not. If you really look at their offense, it was a lot of big plays. It's just pure talent. I mean, you've got T. Higgins, you've got Jamar Chase. You went down in tight end, I think, by losing C.J. Uzomah. Now they got Hayden Hurst. But you got Joe Burrow. I mean, this is that trio alone. Joe Mixon, solid running back, and a pretty good run-blocking offensive line. So you've got those weapons. My question is, I'm still not a Zach Taylor believer, which is, maybe I should get on the bus. The dude took his team to the Super Bowl, but I think that team got on the right run. They had a magical run from a rookie kicker, and they have, when you have such a good quarterback like they do in Burrow, you can kind of peel over some of the cracks. So I just think there'll be a regression. But that being said, I still think they're the best team in the South or in the North. I actually briefly considered putting them at 4 and the Colts at 3. I'm like, no, let's not get crazy, Brian. They did make the Super Bowl. Let's at least give them that kind of respect. So yeah, I got Cincinnati coming in at 3.
I like it. I got the Bengals there too, man. So now the question comes down to 1 versus 2, and as soon as you hear this name, everybody's going to know who got 1. So let's take it away, man, because there's 2. We both have. Man, we're pretty similar. This is where we might change, though. Who's the runner-up, the number 2 team in the AFC, my friend?
I could easily see this team being the number 1 seed in the AFC and perhaps a Super Bowl contender, but I'm going to go with the Chargers at 2 because the Bills were just right there. They were right there. They only got better. I mean, you add a Hall of Fame pass rusher with really, that was their 2 main weaknesses, weren't even huge weaknesses, were pass rush and offensive line. Their offensive line stayed about the same. It's kind of a run-of-the-mill, probably like a 15 to 17 offensive line, which the talent they have is honestly enough. But then your pass rush got even better. You drafted Kyer Elam to upgrade that secondary. You still have Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde. You got a great safety duo. And you got guys like Ed Oliver who should get better when attention starts going over to Von Miller on the other side. So, there's really not much not to like. You want to talk about adding James Cook in the backfield. Devin Singletary really finished the season. Here I am talking about the Bills, and we're supposed to be talking about the Chargers. But I just want to emphasize, they're both that good. But the Bills have been doing it a little bit longer. The Chargers made a lot of additions that on paper look amazing. We have to see how well is Khalil Mack getting past his prime, right? J.C. Jackson, sometimes cornerback play can kind of fluctuate. He was obviously one of the best in the NFL and New England, but then you see what happened with Stephon Gilmore. He has not quite been as good. So I think it's more of the uncertainty is why I picked the Chargers at number 2 and put the Bills at number 1.
For me, I have the same order. We've got 1 through 5 the exact same. The only difference is you have the Ravens and I've got the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's possible that any team in the AFC West might not even get the first or second seed because they have to play every team in their division twice plus the NFC West.
Right.
Whereas the Bills get to play the Jets twice. You know what I mean? Like that's a big
and a
difference.
Patriots team that they absolutely destroyed in consecutive games to end last season.
And so some people would be like, man, how do you not have the Patriots making the playoffs? They could not have ended on a worse, probably 3 to 4
and they got
game
worse.
Stretch.
They did not re-sign J.C. Jackson. They haven't brought Dante Hightower back yet. This is on offense. They traded away Shaq Mason, their best offensive guard, to the Bucs. Like they completely fell apart, and then they didn't improve. Yes, Mac Jones should be better in year 2, but the rest of this roster, I'm not digging it.
Yeah, it's so like again for me, I have the Ravens and man, that's hard. Ravens and Patriots not making the playoffs. I also have the Raiders. I don't have the Raiders in.
Same.
You don't have the Raiders in.
Yeah, the Raiders
are they honestly a good enough team to be a playoff team? Yes,
100% yes. And they were probably the team. If I had to pick, once again, it's maybe my Dolphins bias trying to push them down, but I'd say the next 2 teams for me personally are the Dolphins and the Raiders. If we're talking about teams that probably are going into week 18, like a win and they're in, or a win plus another loss and they're in, I'm picking the Raiders and the Dolphins. My biggest question mark for the Raiders are on the offensive line, which did not improve at all. And was already not good, and still some questions on the defense, especially in the secondary. But their offense is, man, that's going to put up points. Here's a fun fact. If you're a fantasy player, Derek Carr might be a sleeper you can get later in drafts. I think he's going to put up points because besides the fact that he's got the weapons, they have to keep up with that AFC West. They're going to have to score points. They're going to have to be passing the ball a lot. Derek Carr, there's your tip of the day from Legit Football.
I like it. Oh, Uncle Salty, look at this. A quick plug here from Uncle Salty.
Nice.
Says, Legit Football's quick, comprehensive newsletter. Great way to keep up with the league as a whole. It's completely free. It's completely
100%.
free.
How
do they sign up for it?
Yeah, just go to legitfootball.com, hit join, enter your email address. It's going to be super simple. I have noticed a lot more 49ers emails signing up, so thank you guys. And I see you guys opening it. I really appreciate it, and hope you're enjoying it.
I love it. All right, let's go through. How do you want to do the playoffs for the AFC? Let's wrap this AFC up with a bow, and then let's jump over to the prime.
Let's jump to the conference championship. We don't have to pick every single game. Let's just pick who we think the 2 teams are going to be in the conference championship and which one of those teams will prevail. And then we'll go over and do the same thing in the NFC, obviously spending a little more time with anything that's Niners relevant. And then we'll do the Super Bowl at the kind of very end here.
I like it.
I mean, I have to, it's going to sound straightforward, but I got to go Bills Chargers. I mean, it's like you look at this team and look, the AFC is going to be a juggernaut. Any team can fall. Injuries, we cannot predict injuries. It could completely change the landscape. But if I'm looking at the 2 best rosters, perhaps in the NFL, top to bottom, if we're just looking on paper based on what the Chargers did, it's got to be Buffalo and LA. So that's my pick for the conference championship. How about you, John?
I've got Chargers winning it all over the Bills. So I've got the Chargers making it to the Super Bowl.
Nice.
Who do you have winning it?
I got the Bills. I just think, we're 13 seconds away from the Bills being Super Bowl champions. I honestly feel that way. If they don't lose that game, if Mahomes and Hill don't do what they did at the end of that game, Josh Allen is going on to beat Cincinnati, and then the Bills are going on to beat the Rams. That's how I feel it would have played out. So because they're so close, and in my mind, they only got better, I have to pick Buffalo to win this game.
I like it. All right. Now it's time. We've got to do this jersey giveaway, man, which I'm excited about. I love doing giveaways because I became a fan because of a jersey. Like it's kind of like where I was kind of like, ingrained in whatever. And I just like giving stuff away. I hate money, apparently. I spend way too much.
You care about your listeners. You care about your fans. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I'd say that is accurate. So here we go. If you did not win, that's okay. We got a lot of giveaways coming up, especially throughout the season with the 49ers Rush Road Trip. The winner, and there were lots of ways to enter. The gentleman that won had multiple entries. So congratulations to Chad. His Twitter handle at GORNICZ3. He is also a big time Patreon member. So he entered multiple ways. He won with his Twitter entrance, which I think we had like 280 plus.
Smart.
Hey man, it's what it is. So if you haven't joined us on Twitter, joined us on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/49ers Rush Podcast. Automatically entered into every giveaway we do. There were people that left Spotify 5-star reviews, iTunes 5-star reviews. I mean, people, there were so many ways. Just want to say congratulations. If you didn't win, that's okay. Don't get mad. We got more. We're going to have a lot more.
I'm going to give a congratulations on all of your behalf to this man, John, for getting to 10,000 YouTube. So you guys can't clap in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and do it for you. So shout out to John. Shout out to 49ers Rush. What an awesome accomplishment, man.
It was crazy, and it kind of exploded recently this past year. So I'm pretty excited. I'm 20,000 is in the sights. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's jump over to the NFC. We're going to start at the bottom and go to the top. And for everybody else, again, throw your top 3 NFC teams, right? How you think they're going to go. Not necessarily power rankings, but who do you think is going to be the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed? Throw those in there. Hit that like button. I love it, man. I'm bad at asking people to do the subscribe and all that stuff. But thank you, Brian. Hit that like button. It helps us out. So here we go. Let's start at number 7 in the NFC.
I want to start by saying that we mentioned how much of a juggernaut the AFC is. The NFC, not so much. It was a little bit easier. It was a little bit more straightforward. We will spend more time.
East in basketball.
Correct. Yeah. So there's the power conference, and then there's you have some very good teams that are capable of winning the Super Bowl, but there's less of them. So starting at number 7, I have from the NFC North the Minnesota Vikings. Another one of those first-year coach teams. Kevin O'Connell will have to see what kind of head coach he comes through the McVay coaching tree. Those guys have, for the most part, had pretty good success. I mean, Zach Taylor was in the Super Bowl last year. But I like the roster otherwise. I mean, you still got Dalvin Cook. Justin Jefferson is already a top 5, maybe top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. Kirk Cousins, I'm more of a believer than Kirk than a lot of people are. I think he is. It's so hard to find a reliable quarterback. He may not be the guy that can carry you to a Super Bowl, but he's a guy you can count on most weeks, and every now and then he'll win a game for you. Adam Thielen is a little bit older, but he's still what a great red zone threat. And then you have a pretty solid defense. Patrick Peterson coming back. They played well last year. Yeah, Minnesota.
I love any team in the NFC North because they get 4 games against Chicago and Detroit, which is not fair to anybody else outside of. So again, I don't have the Vikings 7 in my power rankings, but I do have them 7 just like you do in making the playoffs, just because it's so many easy victories, and I do think they have a good roster. I think they have a very good roster, actually, which is crazy. They fired their coach and all that stuff. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. All right, let's go. Number 6.
Speaking of easy divisions, the NFC East, right? So they actually, I think, are worse than the NFC North because I've mentioned on this show a couple times, I kind of think Detroit's going to be a little frisky this season, whereas I don't believe in the Giants or the Commanders at all. I like Brian Dable. I think he could eventually be successful in New York, but I just think that roster is just missing some pieces, and I am not a Daniel Jones fan of in any way, shape, or form.
Daniel Jones is not a Daniel Jones fan.
He's not. They need a new quarterback. Commanders need a new quarterback. Yeah, there's all this. Ron Rivera is talking about how great Carson Wentz is confident. I don't care how confident it is. I don't think he's a good quarterback. So for that reason, I have the Dallas Cowboys at 6. So I do not have Dallas winning the division. There's a couple reasons for that. One, they actually lost a lot of talent while I mentioned the 2 teams that are crappy. So it's not a spoiler to say that I have the Eagles winning the division. The Eagles got better. The Cowboys got worse. But I still think that they're talented enough. You still got Dak Prescott, who I believe is a top 5 quarterback. You lost Amari Cooper, but CeeDee Lamb makes a step up. Lots of reports that Zeke is looking great. I don't know. Tony Pollard's great. I don't care if Zeke's good. You got Tony Pollard there. So, yeah, I've got the Cowboys coming in at number 6.
Yeah, that Zeke is in the best shape of his life tweet gets recycled every single year. And they're wrong every single time.
Yes, they are.
He is in shape. It's round. I think we have the exact same workout plan. I have the Cowboys there as well. Nice. I mean, we didn't even see our list. We never do that because I want it to be organic.
We get on a minute. We get on like 1 minute before we start recording. This is no, corroboration.
We're agreeing too much, Brian. I might have to start being a devil's advocate over here. All right, last wild card spot, the number 5 spot in the NFC.
So for any of you who saw my very first show here, you know that I do not have your precious 49ers winning the division, but I said that I have them in the playoffs, and that's why I've got them right here at number 5. Do I think they can win the NFC West? Absolutely yes. My biggest question is at quarterback. I'm not saying Trey Lance is bad. I'm just saying we don't know yet. So it is very possible that if Lance comes out, which all reports he's been amazing so far in OTAs and minicamp, this could change. And the Rams, they're very top heavy. If they suffer an injury or two, the door's wide open. But for this exercise, I have to defend myself before they start jumping at me. I have the 49ers in the number 5 seed here.
I do too. I do too. I do too. I think that they can win the division. I think it's a coin flip. I'm a big believer in Trey. I think that they did very, very well. I just think, man, you look at the quarterback position, and really it comes down to this idea of Matt Stafford versus Trey Lance. Trey Lance could surprise and be great. I think it's going to be a lot. And again, I have them as a wild card team, but I have them winning 11 games. And so they're a quality team for sure.
I think I had them just one game behind the Rams when we did. It's not like I have them way behind. It could easily switch to the other way around.
And I hope I'm wrong. And Big Papa, he's it here. Lambs ain't gonna win the division. I hope you're right. I really, really do. I really hope you're right. All right, let's go into our division winners. Number 4.
So we just talked about the NFC East. This is where I have Philadelphia. I think they finished strong. They did make the playoffs. They got absolutely trounced by the Bucs when they made it, but they made the playoffs. So I'm not a Nick Sirianni fan. I think it took him too long to adjust. He had some really questionable ways of using Jalen Hurts at the beginning of the season. It was great for fantasy. He's on my dynasty team. They basically would get behind, and then he would say, "Hey, Jalen, run around and make plays." And so he'd just be running around. It looked like there were no structure. Finally, they adjusted to a more run-heavy approach, and they found a lot more success. So can Sirianni keep with those adjustments? Obviously, A.J. Brown is a huge addition. They also made some nice additions on defense. James Bradbury across from Darius Slay. So I really like the talent. The talent got better, no question. Also, it has been 17 or 18 straight years with a different winner in the NFC East. It's the most insane stat.
Yes.
If there's one thing you can bank on the NFL, it's that whoever won last year, Cowboys, will not win the NFC East this year. So that's why I've got Philadelphia. But I also don't think they're that great of a team, so I've got them right at that number 4 spot. They will have a worse record than the 49ers. Just so you guys know, they're only there because they win their division and the 49ers are a wild card.
Yeah, and you look at it last year. Philly was 9-8 last year. They weren't a bad team. Week 2, I think was last year.
They had a weak schedule, though. They had a weak schedule. They won
that
some
49ers game came down to the wire.
Yeah.
And I love Shot Jay. He always keeps it real. I need hyperbole and proclamations that Niners destroyed everyone. Lie to me.
Let's just give him the Lombardi now. Just give him the trophy. It's over.
The offensive line's a major question mark, and it's hard for me to buy into the offensive line with a young quarterback. Can they surprise? Can they overachieve? For sure. Having said that, it's kind of hard to pick them over some top-end teams currently. Could they do it? Hell yeah. Do I think they'll do it? Man, I hope so. But right now, I just don't think it's realistic.
Hurts needs to be better as a passer, too. He relied way too much on his legs. He should be able to use his legs as a complement. But if he's going to compete with some of these next 3 teams we're going to talk about, he's going to have to get better as a passer, especially with A.J. Brown there. You don't have an excuse that you don't have the weapons with him and Devontae Smith.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, let's throw it up there. Number 3, who you got?
Number 3, this is purely a coaching and an Aaron Rodgers play. So I have the Packers at 3. I think losing Devontae Adams is going to hurt a lot more than maybe some people think. He's still Rodgers. He's still one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL, but at some point he will start to regress. I have a feel he doesn't have the competitiveness that Brady has. He's more of a slight guy. If you slight him, if you piss off Rodgers, he's going to go scorched earth. He's won 2 MVPs in a row. And without that, with just a completely unproven group of pass catchers here, some rookies, some second-year guys, when Alan Lazard, who is by all respects a nice number 3 receiver, is your number 1, you've got problems. They say Sammy Watkins is going to be heavily involved. If that's who you're relying on, I have some concerns. At the end of the day, though, they've got an amazing run game. I believe in Matt LaFleur. You still got Aaron Rodgers, A.J. Dillon, and drawing a blank at Jones. What a great tandem, Aaron Jones at running backs, and you still have a pretty solid defense. You still got Zaire Alexander, Eric Stokes came on last year, so Yeah, I got them winning the division. I think the Vikings could be a little frisky and compete with them, but I still have Green Bay winning. I think they're better than the Eagles, so I'm putting them at 3.
Yeah, they've got an easy division. They've got Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back MVPs, and rightfully so. And basically their whole MO is, man, we're going to build a great team, and just Aaron Rodgers going to bail out receivers. That's what it's going to be. And I think that's always going to be good enough to have a layup in the middle of the fairway. It's never going to be good enough to win it all. And that's why they're 0-4 versus the 49ers in the playoffs. And I think that, excuse me, I think that continues. I don't think that they're going to have a good record. That's great. That's awesome. Aaron Rodgers will be in contention for MVP because he's doing it without a great supporting cast,
right?
But not a team that is built to win when it matters most. So yeah, I have them 3 as well. All right, here we go. Number 2. Let's get it. The last 2 we got for the NFC.
Number 2, I have defending champions from 2 years ago, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a team that, once again, brought back pretty much everyone. They did have some losses on the offensive line, but they actually were able to replace that fairly well. They got Shaq Mason from New England, I mentioned. But Tom Brady came back. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin coming back from injury. They picked up Russell Gage, which was a fantastic free agent signing. You got the defense, which was very good, bringing back almost all of their starters. There's not much not to like. I like Todd Bowles. I know that there's we talk about the coaching, but Bowles has been a head coach before, and he's a fantastic defensive coordinator, and this team is set up for success. Brady has to regress at some point. But, so I'm not going to predict it because I've been trying to predict it for 20 years, and it never happened. So I don't know. If the Packers had Devontae Adams, I think almost certainly I would put them ahead of the Bucs here. But as long as they've got Brady and as long as they got the rest of that talent on both sides of the ball, easily sliding Tampa Bay in at number 2 here.
See, I think I did a very similar thing to what I did in the AFC, in the fact that I put Bucs 1 because I don't believe in that division, and I put the Rams 2 because they do have that incredibly difficult schedule with the AFC West and NFC West. So, but yeah, I think there's a lot of quality teams. I think there's probably 4 quality teams that can win it all in the NFC, that being the Bucs, the Rams, Packers, maybe, and the 49ers.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think we're so close. We just switched 1 and 2. Other than that, I think we were all the way down.
Exactly. I leaned on the Rams because obviously they're the champs. They're defending the Lombardi Trophy. I like McVay as a head coach better than Bowles. I mean, he's proven the success as a head coach. And short of a few things like OBJ and Von Miller, who was really only there for a small run, they've got most of their talent back. They still have Jalen Ramsey. Aaron Donald is so dominant. He changes so much when it comes to the success of your defense that a tough schedule. I totally get you, John. If there is one way that opens the Bucs to be the top seed, it's because the Rams will just get beat up by the rest of the NFC West while the Bucs get to play the Panthers and Falcons twice a year. So I could see your argument there for record wise, but I think the Rams are a better team, and so that's why I slotted them in.
I like it. All right. Let's jump ahead. We've got our 7. All right, let's go. Let's take it away. Do you want to jump straight to the conference round?
We can break it down more since it's the NFC.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You knew I wanted it.
I did. We're mind melding here. I'm with you, man. So yeah, let's just talk about. So just based on, I'll do my matchups, and you can kind of do the same. So Rams get the bye, right? Because now only one team gets the bye. So you've got Bucs versus Vikings, Packers versus Cowboys, and Eagles versus 49ers, which would be a great matchup for you guys to start. So we'll start right there, 4-5. Clearly think that's a 49ers victory. I said that I'm just not quite sold on Sirianni. I like the talent, but I like the 49ers. I think they're just a better team. And if it weren't division winner versus wild card, the 49ers would be ranked higher for me. In the power rankings, I had them ranked much higher. So I've got the 49ers winning that game. It wouldn't surprise me if Dallas beats Green Bay. I mean, if we're just...
Dude, I got Cowboys over Packers as well.
Yeah.
I really do. I know that the Cowboys are allergic to playoff wins, but I do think that is a game that they could win. I really do.
Yeah. I think you don't have that just Mr. Reliable and Devontae Adams to not only be your safety blanket, but also make yards after the catch and just be... He was their end zone target. They'd be 1 yard out, and either they'd hand it to A.J. Dillon, or they would throw a little slant that nobody could cover to Devontae Adams, and it would be like a guaranteed touchdown. You don't have that anymore, so they become a little more one-dimensional. I just like Dak. I'm a big Dak fan. I just think he's so talented. I think by that time the Cowboys will be gelling, and I kind of want Rodgers to lose. So there's a little bit of personalness there. So I've got the Cowboys winning. And then as much as I like the Vikings, unless Brady somehow finally has hit that wall, I have to pick the Bucs over Minnesota here.
Yeah, we're very similar. I've got Rams over Vikings, Cowboys over Packers, 49ers over Eagles in that wild card round. And I love this question. Steven asked this: will this decade be the dominance of the 49ers and Rams in the NFC West? You know, you look at it, we've had 3 out of 4 of the last Super Bowl appearances. We only got 1 Super Bowl win. That was the Rams, obviously. You know, the Rams lost 1, 49ers lost 1, and the Bucs were mixed in there as well. So it's already kind of shaping out that way. And, you know, I almost don't even want to say this. I had a good friend, a follower, Ryan. I'm gonna put him on the spot here. He messaged me tomorrow, Friday, and this hurts. It's beautiful and it hurts at the same time. It will have been 10,000 days since the 49ers have won their last Super Bowl. Tomorrow. That's a long damn time. And why do I bring that up? Like, I'm not trying to be strong sad over here and upset, make everybody depressed. But I think people forget, you know, the 49ers have a very rich history, but it hasn't been rich as of late. And Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, you have the hardball years. Other than that, it's been darkness. And so the fact that we have been in, you know, 2 Super Bowls in the past, you know, 10 years, I think that's a big deal. And so we'll see. Things are trending up because you look at the Rams, they're on borrowed time. They might have 3 to 4 good years left in them, but that's it. The 49ers have a 22-year-old quarterback and perhaps 4 all-pro players that are relatively young, not Trent Williams. So 3 all-pro players that might be the best at their position that are young. And talking about Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, George Kittle. Like, there's a lot of promise there. So, you know, just sticking with that question, yeah, I think the future is very, very bright. Even though I don't have them winning the Super Bowl this year, I hope I'm wrong. I think, and I've been saying this, 2023, 49ers are going to be Super Bowl favorites. Like, I believe that.
I'm going to give my NFL unbiased take, and I'm going to, once again, completely agree with John here. I think as far as futures, if we're talking about NFL futures, I would rather bet on the 49ers than the Rams because of what the Rams have very transparently done with their team building process. They have spent all their draft picks on superstars, and they are very, very top heavy. The problem is, eventually those stars will retire. Aaron Donald already thought about retiring and or just kind of get older and lose a step or two. And they're not refilling the cupboard. They literally don't have draft picks to refill these cupboards. So as Cooper Kupp, who's a very physical receiver, gets into his upper 20s, early 30s, even if it's a small drop, Stafford's already in his 30s. You've got Jalen Ramsey. Eventually, cornerback is not one of those positions you can be dominant at for a decade. And Aaron Donald could retire in a year at this point. Although he got paid, 2 years? So he's on a two-year contract. Versus, like you said, the 49ers, if Trey Lance hits, you've got a decade plus of just having a stud at the quarterback position. Your running backs are young. Debo, as long as he sticks around, is still only, 25, 26. You've got so much young talent. I would bet on the 49ers long-term more than the Rams. This season, still edging LA, but I like where you guys are situated right now. And the last thing I'll say on that whole Super Bowl thing, as a Dolphins fan, they've been there once since I've been alive, and they lost in 1984.
To the 49ers.
To the 49ers. I was 4 years old, all right? I don't want to hear about... And the Dolphins haven't won a Super Bowl since the 70s, since before I existed. So be glad, 49ers fans, be glad.
We get spoiled, and you got to put things into perspective. You know, the 49ers are 3rd most playoff wins ever. Yeah. So we're good. All right, let's go to the divisional round.
Real quick, last note on that, because we mentioned Dolphins and Niners. I live in the Bay Area. You can bet your ass I will be at the 49ers Dolphins game. I better see you guys there, John.
There we go.
We're going to sit together. Let's watch the Dolphins Niners game at Levi's.
I love it, man. Absolutely. Right. That'd be a blast, man. That's going to be a good time. Cool. All right, let's go divisional round. Let's see what we got.
All right, so for the divisional round, we've got the Rams playing the Cowboys. We got the 1 versus the 6. The Bucs would then play the Niners. Who do I have? Trying to figure out the seeding for the next round. So the one team, the Rams got the bye, so they play the lowest seed. No, I did not have the Vikings winning. They play the Cowboys. Bucs, 49ers, Packers. I feel like I'm missing something here.
So you're going to have, because you have the Rams 1, they play the Cowboys.
Right.
So you'd have Rams versus Cowboys, and then
I guess
you'd have
I should have
Bucks
crossed
versus
them out.
49ers.
Like, oh, that team lost. So we got the Vikings losing. We got the Packers losing.
Because
and then
mine
we have
are
the Eagles
opposite.
losing.
Because I've got Bucks.
It's just two
over...
games. That's
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
was. I'm looking to do 3 games here. So yeah, Rams, Cowboys, Bucks, 49ers.
There you go.
So Rams, Cowboys. I mean, I got to pick the Rams there, assuming they're healthy. And Bucks, 49ers. I'm gonna go San Francisco. I like that. I just think something about this Bucks team. I just feel like they're on the like. I just feel like Brady's not gonna. He was just quoted as saying, "Eventually, my competitive drive will be gone." Like, who says that? Unless they're already kind of leaning that way. So I just feel by the end of the year, a whole season taking their toll. I think the 49ers are going to be hungry, assuming Lance is playing well. So I'm going to pick San Francisco. So look at that, NFC West again. Rams, 49ers, NFC Championship.
Nobody's going to be mad about that here, man.
Do you have the same? What were your picks?
So my seeding's different. So I had
Right.
49ers over Rams. So we had our NFC West matchup.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I've got 49ers over Rams. Moving on. It's going to be tough. But again, I think the head-to-head favors the 49ers. That's why they're 6-1 in the last 7 games. So, yeah, I just think it's a matchup thing. So what do you have for Rams and Cowboys? You have Rams as well?
I have Rams winning that game. Yeah, I think
Right, that's right.
even though I think Dak will win that first game against the Packers, I don't think they can do it twice in a row on the road against the defending Super Bowl champs. So I've got LA winning that game. Once again, we're all assuming health. Somebody could be injured. If Stafford's out, forget it. Maybe Dak wins that game. But I've got for this exercise the Rams. So we now have the Rams hosting your San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game for the second year in a row.
Why not, man? Why not? So I have the Bucks beating the 49ers, which I hate saying. I don't even like saying it, in the NFC Championship. I think the 49ers get far, but I think there's some Tom Brady magic or whatever. I think the Bucks are a great roster personally. So I've got the Bucks over the 49ers. Who do you have making it out of the NFC?
I think it's going to be a slugfest just like last year, but I still think with Aaron Donald there, I have to give the edge to LA here. I like your 2023 pick, John. I think if we were picking 2023, I might be leaning 49ers here. But yeah, I mean, Trey Lance is for all intents and purposes a rookie quarterback. He didn't get a ton of starter reps last year, didn't get a ton of action. So by that time, hopefully he's a little bit better, but he's going to be going up against Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. That's just too much. So I've got the Rams. So now I have Bills-Rams as my Super Bowl.
There you go. I got Chargers and Bucks. You got Bills, Rams. All right, let's hear it, man. Who's your Super Bowl winner? Who's taking it all home, Brian?
I got to keep it in my AFC East. I got to hand it to Buffalo. I already said earlier in this show that I felt that they were that close to, and had it not been for that loss and with the coin flip and all that to Mahomes and the Chiefs, I think they would have won last year. They only got better. McDermott's a great coach. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, the weapons, the defense, just across the board, they really don't have any glaring weaknesses. And they've been there before. They were right there last year, so I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills, 2022 Super Bowl champions.
Dude, that's awesome. I've got Chargers winning it all, which it'd be crazy going from not in the playoffs to winning it all, but I just believe in that roster, their quarterback, their O-line, their defense.
I love the roster. If that comes together, you could absolutely be right.
Gosh, man. Very thankful they are not in the NFC West. So, man, this is fun. We both had the 49ers losing the NFC Championship, which is crazy with a young quarterback and all those things. I know a lot of people will be, man, how come you didn't pick the 49ers to win it all? That's not who I am. I'm going to tell you what I believe, and if it's not, I hope I'm wrong.
He's happy to be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not one of those people that's just going to kiss up and tell you we're winning the Super Bowl every year. That's just not who I am, not who I'm going to be. But, man, this has been fun, Brian. We gave away a jersey. You're going full time. We hit 10,000 subscribers.
What a day.
Niners making it to the NFC Championship again. Whew, lots of like, man.
Life is good.
Life is good. Anything, Brian, before we jump out of here? Any parting words before we say goodbye?
Make sure, if you haven't already, check out Legit Football. LegitFootball.com. Enter your email. 100% free. This is my full-time job, but I'm going to be getting money from advertisers. I'm not getting money from you guys. Anybody that signs up, we're always going to keep the product free. That's my promise to you. That's my passion. So check it out. I'll let you guys know on this show going forward when I have my TikTok up, when I have some YouTube stuff up. I've got the time. It's time to make some awesome NFL content.
I love it. And I'll say this too, our Thursday, podcast with you, Brian, it's going to be NFL topics. So if there are NFL topics that you would like us to dive into and cover, just shoot me an email or DM me, 49ers Rush Podcast at gm.com or JL_Chapman on Twitter. Really, however you want to do that, we'll get those, and Brian and I will work together and make those come up. So if you want to talk more about NFL topics once a week, that's all we got. The rest of the time, it's all Niners. This is going to be your time to do so. So, Brian, once again, thank you. Love this. Thanks, time John. Every week.
Oh, yeah,
and until next time, stay strong, faithful.
See you guys.